All politics is local, as the saying goes, and it doesn't get any more local than your county commissioner.
Because of new term limits, half of the 13-member commission will turn over for the first time in recent history. And one of the more contentious races is for District 7, and that reps Key Biscayne in Miami, South Miami, Pinecrest, and Kendall.
The candidates are with us this morning live. Cindy Lerner is a former Pinecrest mayor, former state representative. Raquel Regalado is an attorney, radio broadcaster, former member of the Miami-Dade School Board. Ladies, good morning.
Good
Great
morning.
to have you here.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Let's begin with sort of the basic question. And Cindy Lerner, let me ask you to give a good, concise answer. Why are you the best candidate to fill the seat in District 7?
I'm the best candidate because I'm the most prepared, the most experienced, the most credentialed, having operated as mayor of Pinecrest for 8 what I call glorious years, served as president of the Miami-Dade League of Cities, representing all of the municipalities in Miami-Dade County, and being a former state representative. I have the experience and the vision for how to move the county forward at a time where we desperately need somebody who is ready to hit the ground running and has the kind of relationships and experience to do what needs to be done to improve the quality of life for everybody, not only in District 7.
If you would, Cindy, I beg your pardon, want to give Raquel equal time to respond. Raquel, good morning. Tell us why you believe you are the best candidate.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, first and foremost, I think my experience at the school board when the educational budget in Florida was cut by $2 billion prepares me to handle what's coming, the deficit that's coming to Miami-Dade County. As you all know, when I was at the school board, I sued BP, I restructured transit, and I really did everything possible to ensure that we provided best services without raising taxes. The Miami Herald has endorsed me twice because of my knowledge of the budget, my involvement with the county, and my ability to get things done. I think in this race, people have an opportunity to make a generational change. And now more than ever with the pandemic, we need representation on the Board of County Commissioners of working women, of women that are dealing with online learning. My work at the school board speaks for itself. The school board budget is the only thing that can be compared to the Miami-Dade County budget. And a lot of the issues that the county is dealing with right now are the issues that I was talking about in my 16 mayoral race. Septic to sewer, what's going on in transportation, going to Broward. I talked about all these issues, and after that election, the county implemented them, and I'm the person that should take this district forward and the best person to represent District 7.
So let's talk about those issues, because unlike 4 years ago, this year, every issue, and there are so many of them, are now taken over by COVID. The health personally of the county, the health economically of the county. So you have both been very critical about the current mayor's handling of COVID and managing in the county. And so one at a time, Cindy, why don't you go first? What would you do differently, and how would you pay for it?
Well, first of all, the county commission had no role to play in the determination of how to reopen the county. Nor did the media, for that matter. So there was a very top-down heavy approach to how to resolve the problems. We've never had the testing that needed to be implemented. And as Daniela Levine Cava is recommending in her mayoral platform, we need a chief medical officer, and we need to ramp up the county health departments, because they've just suffered tremendously by state and county elimination of real outreach into the community, and we're going to have to be much better prepared in the future.
Raquel?
Yeah, Raquel?
Well, my view is completely different. I've been critical of how the county commission has failed to act. At the last commission meeting, they had the opportunity to reduce the mayor's emergency powers. Emergency powers were never drafted by the county commission or our charter to go beyond 100 days. The county commission could have acted and they decided not to act. They have misspent the CARES Act money. And the first thing we need to do legislatively is to curtail the power of the mayor and to ensure that we have a county commission that acts and that allows people the opportunity to participate in the discourse. Now what we have is a dramatic change with the governor's new executive order. Now Miami-Dade County or no other county can make any changes in terms of closing without the governor's input and without his approval. This is a direct hit at our home rule. We have a lot of home rule challenges. We have the one with MDX, and now we have this executive order, and we have to respond legislatively. As to how we're going to pay for it, listen, there's a lot of opportunities to really, of course, correct at the county. One of the big issues that I have with this past budget is that they passed their 5-year capital outlay plan without even considering COVID. They're building a $17 million building for mosquito control without even considering our use of space and how many county buildings are empty because people are working from home. So we want to go back to that budget. There's a lot of things that can be changed, a lot of costs that can be saved, just like we did at the school board when we were in difficult times.
Yeah, Cindy Lerner, let me bring up a kind of unpleasant subject, but one that needs to be discussed. Maybe you want to discuss it as well, and that is obviously the video that has sort of made the rounds on social media that shows you being baited at a Pinecrest City Commission meeting, and you are berating the people who are taking after you, and it raises the subject, I guess, of temperament and the ability to act in a collegial fashion, respect voters. We're going to run just a little bit of the video. Don't know the provenance of the video, don't know exactly how it got out there, but respond to it. Tell us, what is your view of this?
This is a public hearing. This is a public hearing. You are hearing my attitude.
Karen, you are out of order. You are out
Do the
of
residents
order.
have the option of having
You are
police
out
brought
of
in?
order.
Because I am being
You
abused.
can be escorted out.
Okay, well, we apologize for sort of rolling that over you, but your voice is raised. You are clearly irritated, speaking sharply to these people. We don't know the exact circumstances, but explain what it was and how you generally deal with constituents.
Okay. Thank you for this opportunity, Michael, because this ad has been put out by my opponent on TV commercials, through texting, through social media, and it is clearly, as you said, a snippet that provides you the moment that I have opened my mouth, but not what preceded that. So the viewers have no context whatsoever. That particular individual, Karen Ross, is the wife of Bob Ross, who was on the council, and she would come to meetings regularly and not abide by the rules of decorum. She would march herself up to the podium in the middle of our council discussions and just start chastising us. I, as the mayor, had the responsibility to try to regain decorum and encourage
Cindy,
people to be in their place.
We get you, and I'm glad for the context. I guess the question is, here we live in a county of more than 2 million people, and before COVID, hundreds would show up at county commission meetings in addition to your 12 fellow commissioners. Can you treat them with dignity and the respect they deserve?
Absolutely. I was elected to a second term as mayor, unopposed. So the people of Pinecrest gave me the opportunity to continue to lead them. And I was elected president of the Miami-Dade County League of Cities. So all of the municipalities, the mayors and the council people as well, had faith in me, respect for me, and knew that I had respect for them. They know, as a result of the endorsements that I have, I got over 25 current and former officials, local, state, and federal.
We understand, Cindy, we understand you have a lot of endorsements. So does Raquel. Raquel, when it comes to this video, how do you read it? What does it tell you about Miss Lerner's temperament and ability to serve?
Listen, everything that we've talked about in this campaign in regards to Ms. Lerner has to do specifically with what we would be doing at the county commission. The way that she treats residents, whether she likes them or not, whether they dated her or not, I think is important because, listen, as elected officials, we're here to encourage people to participate in meetings. And you know, I doubt how Pinecrest could be, you know, that polemic that she has to respond in that way. I was at the school board. You guys have covered the school board meetings. You know how emotional they get. You know the issues that we've dealt with. No one at the school board has ever chastised anyone. In fact, when people get belligerent with us, we thank them for coming. You know, we understand that they feel strongly about this issue.
Raquel?
And now more than ever, we need people to be understanding and to be respectful.
Raquel?
And yes.
Hi. Hate to cut you off. We need to go to a break, but we're going to call an audible here because there are really many more issues that are much more important to voters, and we're going to get to those when we come right back. So stay tuned. Stay with us. We are back with Cindy Lerner and Raquel Regalado, both vying for District 7 Miami-Dade Commission seat. And going forward, aside from COVID, transit is a huge issue and will continue to be. And right now it is bus versus rail. Cindy and Raquel, please go ahead and take 30 seconds each, if you would, and talk about team rail or team traffic, highways or rail, why, and how do you pay for it?
Who do you want to go first?
Raquel, why don't you take this one first?
Perfect. Awesome. Well, if you guys will remember, in 2016, I actually submitted a transit plan that the county later copied when we talked about the need for ridership and how we had to focus on housing around transit hubs, how we needed to go to Broward in order to increase our ability to get federal funding, and how Miami-Dade County had not applied for federal funding. Right after the 2016 election, they actually changed your transit plan to be like mine, and they applied for federal funding, and now we're making transit hubs around housing around transit hubs a priority. Now, we all want rail, and the question is how to pay for it. There's been different plans in the last few years. There was one that I think we should go back to, which was proposed by MDX, which actually wanted to put little bridges on the busway and allow people to use it as a toll road, and then put that money into a separate account that would be used for the matching funds to bring rail down that corridor. But I think now that we have the 27th Avenue and the 37th Avenue, and we're going to go to Broward, we can increase our ridership, which can allow us to apply for state and federal funding, and we can use buses for now, but definitely it has to be rail.
Cindy, you've been a proponent of rail.
Absolutely. So I still firmly believe that there should be a one-ticket ride from Homestead all the way to the Broward County line. How do we get there? It had been our hope. We had a strong coalition together several years ago to try to get the recommended mode to be rail. And it was actually Mayor Jimenez and at the time Chair Bovo who dashed our hopes, but not permanently. I believe that with what the commission has actually put in place since that determination, with upzoning along the corridors and the transit-oriented development opportunities, many ways of financing rail that would be mixed use. You'd have transit station, affordable housing, that is transit-oriented development, which is exactly what we want. That could be done not only along the southern corridor, but along the northern corridor as well. So I will continue to fight for a solution that brings in the private developers who want access to those corridors and will collaborate with the county to create the kind of transit-oriented development that we all want to see.
All right, well, much more to say about traffic and rail versus rapid bus, but let's move on to sea level rise, climate change, resilience in Miami-Dade County. Raquel Regalado, this has been, well, for both of you, it's been a topic of emphasis. What would be your overarching kind of a plan to address sea level rise, climate change in Miami-Dade?
Well, the good news is that Miami-Dade County finally had the task force for Biscayne Bay. They have the task force recommendations. They made it a priority. They put it in the budget. The city of Miami has also made septic to sewer a priority. I've been talking about this since 16. And finally, the county commission is willing to move forward on it. I think that we have to start with inspections. The first item that I'm going to bring to the county commission is an inspection paradigm for these septic tanks, and then we're going to create task groups and work with utilities to see what other work is being done by the municipalities and what needs to be done unincorporated. So definitely septic to sewer has to be our #1 priority. I do not agree with the Army Corps of Engineers and the wall that they're doing. Miami-Dade County has to work with the DDA and with the city of Miami. We need mangroves, we need gray spaces,
Raquel,
and we need something more than just in terms of storm surge. And then
Raquel,
finally, my dad did the bond, Miami Forever, to help with sea level rise. The county needs to do something also. We need more than a vulnerability study. We need actual work and a bond.
Let's give Cindy Lerner at least 30 seconds here, weigh in your philosophy on climate change, sea level rise.
So as Mayor of Pinecrest, I actually dug in on climate change and sea level rise. We created a climate action plan. As president of the League of Cities, I went to Mayor Jimenez and said, you need to be collaborating with all the cities. So my first step one for the county, if elected, will be to have a sea level rise climate change committee dedicated to those issues at the commission so it can't be ignored, and to make sure the county does a county-wide vulnerability assessment of all of the infrastructure, the residential, the business, the governmental structure, and the populations, because we've got extremely vulnerable populations. We cannot prioritize where to invest until we know the level of vulnerability.
Right.
So these are processes that are nationally adopted.
Right. Cindy Lerner, Raquel Regalado, great to have you on, and a very tough and well-fought race. Good luck to both of you.
Thanks for your time, ladies.